Hi, Apartment Therapy. My name is Sophie, and welcome to my 331 square foot New York City thrifted palace. Come on in. When I would decorate a space, or when I even decorated my own apartment, this is the first home I've had of my own, I really wanted to just replicate so many of the things that I've seen that inspired me, specifically my travels to Europe. I remember when I first went to Paris, I was just awestruck by the architecture and the interiors and the elegance and the opulence, and it was just really important to me to embody that in this space. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the first room you step into when you walk into the apartment. Funnily enough, this happens to be, I think, my favorite room in the apartment, and it's the one that I had the least vision for. It's my most eclectic space in the house, I would say. I used to dance professionally, and I have some of my dancing treasures I got from little awards I would win back in the day, paraphernalia from all my travels. Honestly, I would say that this kitchen tells the biggest story out of any other room in my apartment. When we were moving in, it was just me, not my husband. I started alone in this apartment, and this island was the best decision I think we made. It's functional. We can move the bar stools out, eat here. It's the perfect size. That's one thing we really have to focus on when living in a small space, is the exact dimension of every single piece of furniture in here. Everything has to have a place. Everything has to be well thought out, because I'll never forget when he was moving in and bringing all of his items over here. I was like, oh no, is this ever gonna work? It was a never-ending pile of just moving someone else in. Adding these pieces of furniture and purging, and then also using acrylic organizers, were necessary for both of us to fit. So it is on wheels, which is so convenient. I can move the bar stools around. Sometimes when I'm hosting, I actually just roll it all around the apartment. I have done this before, which is so cute at Christmas. I hosted friends and I rolled it here and brought the top out, and we would sit and eat dinner here, and you would look through the apartment and see the Christmas tree, and it was just so magical and adorable. So sometimes I've even rolled it into the middle room. So it's convenient. It's just a convertible piece of furniture, super flexible, and if you live in a tiny space, I would definitely recommend getting one of these. They're fabulous. A funny little quirky thing that we have had to overcome in this apartment is the fact that we only have 3 outlets in the entire apartment. And we definitely do have some flickering lights and shortage of electricity because of the 3 outlets. So we have power strips galore. We pretty much are able to run everything at the same time. The kitchen actually had this countertop here adhered with L brackets, so you would be able to sit under, but it just didn't really work for me and wasn't functional storage wise. So I wanted to bring in this coffee bar that has drawers and baskets. This coffee bar was a DIY project that my mom and I actually did. This came from my childhood home. So this was the coffee bar in their kitchen. I'll never forget one day, I think when I was in high school, I, told her, Mom, on that wall, you need to move that piece of furniture and do a coffee bar. And once I speak it, it needs to be done right then. Literally that day, we went all over town to Beaumont, all over to furniture stores to find a piece of furniture for that section for her coffee bar. And the last store we went to, I think it was 9 p.m., it was a Big Lots. We found this piece of furniture and we stayed up till 4 a.m. to put it together. Once it was all together, we were like, oh, we hate the knobs. The next day we went to Hobby Lobby to find these, and it just kind of spruced it up and brought that charm that we love. I call this our appliance garage. So many people are like, what in the world are you guys doing with 4 coffee makers? But each one serves a purpose. This is an espresso maker. This is our little drip coffee. This is the grinder, and this is the kettle. We genuinely do use all 4, so they are needed. The lamp I actually got from my mom. She's a retired interior decorator, and oh my gosh, she is the most talented person. I kind of raided her warehouse and got this adorable brass piano lamp, and it was her idea to put it there. We also have one in our home back in my childhood home. Mom just did such a good job just putting that here and creating this cozy space. So many people always say to me, Sophie, there's no way you really cook in that kitchen because I only have 2 burners. However, I cook almost every single night. I love it. Everything is pretty much thrifted, bought on a dime. This pot rack I got from Facebook Marketplace. It's Williams-Sonoma, 20 bucks. I got this adorable little French pot that's like over $100 on Amazon. I saw it at Marshall's for 50 bucks. Went back about a month later and they clearanced it out to 20. That's my kind of deal. Another item that we've kind of had to overcome along with the outlets is the fact that we have a mini fridge and a freezer for 2 of us. And you know what? It works. Once I started traveling to Europe, I realized that I would talk to so many of the locals and they really buy their groceries every 2 days rather than buying them for the week or for every 2 weeks like we do when we go to Sam's or Costco. So I've kind of implemented that. I know that I made it and have a home of my own and a kitchen of my own when I get a Mackenzie Childs teapot. So my mom actually purchased that for me when I moved into this apartment. It was my little housewarming gift from her and I love it. And I also felt the same thing about these Alexander salt and pepper mill brass salt and pepper grinders. I got these on Amazon. They are a little pricey. It was a little bit of a splurge for me, but I wanted them for so long and they are so high quality. I actually saw the bust with the utensils in Anna Page's New York City apartment. I fell in love with the look of it. I actually found this bust at Marshall's. I think it was actually the same exact trip that I got my copper saucepan. It was really inexpensive, like 15 bucks, and every time I go they have them. So if you want to replicate this as well, get your little bust from Marshall's. Marshall's does not sponsor me, but it's cheap there. I think they're like $15, so I love a deal. It's where you get it. I love Crystal, and also Ross Dress for Less is not sponsoring me, but honey, I could talk about Ross Dress for Less all day long. They have these little ring holders at Ross for $2.99, especially at Christmas. You'll find them. Buy them by the dozen. They're adorable little gifts with a bow on top. Everyone loves them. I think they're so classy and chic. This whole little area is also just adding to the organization. We sometimes put really important mail in here or bills. This just kind of houses AirPods and the bling sting. I also just have a candle for decoration. However, I learned that you should probably not light a candle under a cabinet. I may have just painted over a little bruise that I created. I won't be lighting that again, but it's cute. We actually do only have 1 sink in the entire apartment. So both of us brush our teeth here, wash our face here, wash the dishes here. A lot of people say, how in the world do you guys do that? I can't even imagine. And to be honest, it's really not that big of a deal. It's right beside the bathroom. It's a really big sink, a really deep sink. Works perfectly. So we do not have access to our breaker box in this apartment, which is crazy to me, but we had boob lights in every room. I eventually was like, they have to go. Yeah, I looked on Amazon for just flush mount chandeliers. I stood on this island and took the boob light dome off and essentially just attached the flush mount crystal chandelier to the boob light hardware, the boob light base, which is why you can see the light bulb through it. I was proud of the project and I think it just is the best that we could do. Once again, overcoming challenges, not having a breaker box and being able to install a proper chandelier. That was the next best thing and one of my favorite projects in the apartment. Why does everyone think they're paddles? There's guys. My husband thought this was a paddle. My husband's friend just came into town to view our apartment. He said, "What are you doing with paddles on the wall?" And then the cameraman said, "Why do you have paddles?" These are charcuterie boards. I don't understand. You put on a table and you display meats and cheeses and olives and fruit. No, they're not paddles, they're charcuterie boards. And they were also cheap from Burlington Coat Factory. I mean, I think this was like $9.99 and that was $6.99. So go get you paddles from Burlington and then you can have this look too. So now for the dressing room. This is the next room you enter into right off the kitchen. We've had to switch it up a little bit to fit 2 of us, and now it's really mainly the dressing room. I'm so glad we have this middle space to give us that element of versatility. I also have this little table that I thrifted from Facebook Marketplace. I really wanted to create the effect of like a foyer table when you walk into a house, but it also doubles as a little dining table. Sometimes we eat here, or we can pull it up to this bench seat and host 4. It's just a convertible piece of furniture, which is the name of the game in a tiny apartment. The 2 little stools, they are really funny. Sometimes my husband and I feel like we are playing in a playhouse. They fit the room perfectly. This is a deep, deep, deep cherry wood, and the upholstery cushions were a like dark scarlet look. I think Mom may have gotten them at like Kirkland's literally back in the 2000s or the 90s. I reupholstered the cushions myself. I just kind of took fabric and stapled it to the bottom and did a little DIY. Everyone loves them, everyone sits on these, and they are just the perfect size for this little room. I'm tiny, so it's not that big of an adjustment, but you should see my 5'11" husband sit on these. It's kind of comical. When I was actually searching for an apartment in New York City when I was moving back, I was back in Texas, so I did all virtual tours, and I actually didn't even know this bench seat was in this apartment. I actually ordered a couch for the space, a little love seat. We immediately returned it because this room was a lot smaller than I thought it was. A DIY that I did on this bench seat is this wainscoting, these 3 little panels I got off of Amazon for like $16, and they were peel and stick, super renter friendly, super easy, and they made such a difference on this bench seat. I didn't really realize it would make such a difference, but before it was just this piece of plywood essentially, and then adding these 3 panels just made the space feel so much more custom. This is one of my favorite projects I've done just to give it that homey feel. This lamp is actually, I love it. I got it from Amazon, and the reason I chose this one, it's actually not a renter-friendly lamp, actually. It was one that needed to be electrically wired in, but I just put a rechargeable bulb in there, so I made it a renter-friendly lamp, but this is just a rechargeable bulb. The genesis of this whole section, this shoe rack, came from my husband moving in, fitting 2 of us in here. So this was not the way it was configured in my single girl apartment. I had like a little curio cabinet with just decor. We needed to find ways of just finding storage solutions. I had to clear out shoes from my closet so that he could fit some of his in. And this was the graceful solution, and I actually love it, and everyone comments on it. I got this beautiful brass bamboo bookcase off of Facebook Marketplace for $40. I went all the way to Brooklyn for it. Love it. Best thing ever. It was originally from Wayfair and is discontinued, so I'm glad that I scored it from Marketplace. I just essentially got these little acrylic shoe organizers from Amazon that are fabulous. They are so inexpensive. I staggered the shoes so that I could fit more on a shelf. So I am able to fit 5 shoes on each shelf. And then I also got these little acrylic shelves that I use to display my purses. And when I'm hosting at this little round table, I actually take my purses off these shelves and I use them as risers to display all of our food when I want to make our dinners a little extra special. So this has been the best storage solution for us. It has cleared out so much closet space. I love clothes and shoes and purses, and so what a fun way to showcase that love. Most apartments have just a little bitty coat closet, and that's it. I have this huge double door closet that is perfectly organized to be able to fit all of our stuff. I also have things like ladders, full-size ladders for 12-foot ceilings that I use to get into my uppers, which also a blessing that I have upper storage. The storage spans the entirety of the 12-foot ceilings, and I'm so grateful because I deck the apartment out for holidays, Christmas time, and that has all the Christmas decor. And then I also have little TV trays here that we use sometimes if we want to sit at the bench seat to eat and not want to move this, or if we want to watch the Knicks play and eat dinner in the bedroom, we just pop out these little TV trays that I thrifted for $9 a piece at the Salvation Army Family Store. I don't even think I'd be able to find storage like this sometimes in Texas apartments, so we got really, really, really blessed with all this. The entire section here, all thrifted. This mirror was such a score. I got it for $39.99 at the Salvation Army Family Store. I absolutely love it. Love the brass ornate just vibe. That's so my vibe. This little crystal tray I got for 15 bucks from the Chelsea Flea. I think I paid like $5 for this precious little lion head scalloped brass bowl that I used to hold my makeup brushes. This was thrifted. I think I got it at a thrift store back home in like Beaumont, Texas. And then this is a darling little antique ring casket my mom got me. This is actually my grandma Sophie's wedding dress that a seamstress basically cut and made into a choker that I wore on my wedding day with my reception gown. So this is just so special. Every single piece has a story, and this whole section is just really meaningful to me. I actually went to the Salvation Army Family Store on half price day, found this cherry wood piece of furniture that I got for $30, half price. I painted the bottom black, and then I chalk painted and glazed the top this ivory to give it a little bit of character. And then I did all the hinges with a little rub and buff, changed the knobs, and added fun little tassels. The before and after on this piece of furniture was huge, such a transformation, and was exactly the look I was looking for. Not to mention having drawers with all my makeup with acrylic organizers and doors, which houses hair products, office supplies, bobby pins, body spray, extra books, and everything. Now for the final room in the house, I'm gonna take you guys into my bedroom, which is just the coziest space. And I would say that this room underwent the biggest change when my husband moved in. Starting with this console here, this dresser piece, was necessary to find functional furniture like this to fit two of us in here. So I love this. I got it from the Salvation Army Family Store. They all know me by name. I mean, as you can tell, this whole apartment was put together by the Salvation Army, but I loved it. It has this marble top. It's stunning. It has drawer dividers that were built in. It's such a high-end piece of furniture that I think we paid like just a little over $200. And then moving on to my TV frame, I love it. It's so just chunky and big and bold like I wanted. My dad is a fabulous woodworker. I'm very close with my parents, as you can see, but they both worked so hard with me to put this place together, and he made me this TV frame. We went to Home Depot together, a little daddy-daughter date, and I think we got all this trim for, I think, $68. This was the very first TV frame he's made. Since then, he's made one for my mom. He's made one for my bedroom upstairs back in Texas. He's made a ton. I told him he needs to start selling them because so many people ask about it on my Instagram. On either side of the console are these little storage ottomans that I actually DIY'd myself. I think this is the proudest I've ever been of myself out of everything I've done, was reupholstering these storage ottomans. I don't sew, I don't reupholster things, I don't know how to do any of that, but I've just slowly been teaching myself because I'm resourceful and love doing things on a dime. I just bought regular old plain Jane black ottomans from Target, and then I went and fell in love with this bee fabric. It took me probably about 5 days total scattered to figure out how to actually do this, but I got an upholstery gun, stapled the fabric to the top, hand stitched the sides, and then I got this really cute little fringe on the bottom here. Oh, look at this, you guys. I still have a pin in it. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, now it's done. I actually did get this fringe off of Amazon and just glued it on with upholstery glue, and I also did this trim. I got these for 20 bucks, and with the fabric and everything, it probably cost a total of like $150 for both, and I'm just so proud of this little project. Moving to this wall here, which I have to probably say is like the statement wall of what I call my thrifted palace. I feel like everyone knows the apartment by this wall because you can see it all the way through from the kitchen. My dad made this mantle. Once again, he's a fabulous woodworker. I actually just did this DIY insert here where I did peel and stick tiles, and I just stuck them to a piece of cardboard, an Amazon box, and just slid it in here. These mirrors are actually this tall one. Once again, my mom, so sweet. I just took it right off the wall from her living room when I was moving up to New York City. She let me have it. It's from Hobby Lobby, but it's perfect because it just was the right height, what we needed. This one was not a thrift. I did splurge on that one. It's an antique mirror from Louisiana. When my husband moved in, he was like, Soph, I just need more. I need a junk drawer. So I decided to utilize the window nook, which has been perfect because it doesn't take up any floor space and it's hidden, and I wanted it to look like little built-ins, custom built-ins. So I found these nightstands. They were $20 for both on Amazon. And then I found these are actually wicker waste baskets, little trash cans that fit perfectly underneath. He loves this area, just adding a little bit of interior design to the space as well. So this is our fire escape slash, it's definitely not a patio. This is where I do all my DIYs that can get a little dirty. Specifically, I just bought these thrifted chairs the other day at the Salvation Army, and once I brought them home, they smelled a little tiny bit like cat urine. I needed to douse them in some cleaner, and I even reupholstered them. And so this little tiny little space like this, grateful to have this little fire escape that I can use when I just don't want to dirty up my palace. After I reupholstered the storage ottomans, I just got really confident in my seamstress abilities, and I actually made this pillow from scratch out of just a piece of fabric. And then I also DIY'd this pillow in the back. So starting with this one, I'm obsessed with the Bella Notte bolster pillows, but they are out of budget. So I essentially just replicated it on a dime. I got this velvet fabric for like $16, and I essentially just hand stitched the line, which I know sounds crazy because I don't know how to use a sewing machine, but it really only took me about 30 minutes. And then I just stuffed this pillow once I made a little Tootsie Roll with a fiber fill pillow filler, and then I just put rubber bands on each end to make like a little Tootsie Roll, and then added tassels to just give it that old world glam, classy, antique vibe. And then I added raw edge, just scraps of fabric to make little bows. Great little addition to the bed. And then this is actually a body pillow that I tried to disguise because we just had too many pillows on the bed. And so I also bought closeout fabric off of Etsy. This was like 20 bucks. And I essentially just wrapped the body pillow in this custom fabric to make it look like a custom pillow. And it was just such an easy little hack to dress up a normal body pillow you use every day. These little lights I just got from Amazon. They were really inexpensive. I like the look of framing the bed with a light, and we do use them, especially if I'm like reading at night. And it just adds just like a cozy element of turning off the overhead light and having accent lighting. But they are little remote control bulbs, totally renter friendly. The lampshades were actually stark white, but once I was redoing the bedroom and bringing in more creams, I recovered them. You can kind of see here that I bought a thrifted valance curtain that was sheer, that was more off-white, and so I just essentially glued it to the white lampshade here to warm it up and soften it a little bit. This corner closet was a labor of love. Essentially, this closet used to just be 6 shelves. There were no hanging rods, so it's also triangle walls in the back. I assumed we could just take all the shelves out and adhere the rods to the wall, but we quickly ran into an obstacle because I forgot the walls were at a diagonal, so you couldn't drill the rods into the wall. So we overcame that by keeping 2 shelves in and buying this flexible piece of metal from the hardware store and essentially screwing the rods to the shelves, and it worked. We actually totally rehabbed this closet and made it functional for hanging. Okay, so I'm taking you to the quirkiest room in the apartment. It is so tiny. Don't even think the 2 of us are gonna be able to fit in here, Welcome to our bathroom. So you literally have to step over the toilet to get into the shower. I will say it was renovated. When we moved in and I saw the apartment, I was like, well, you know what? It's tight, it's tiny, but at least it's brand new toilet. They redid the tile in the shower and everything. So it actually is roomier than it looks. For storage, you're probably wondering, where do you put any of your bathroom products? We actually utilize, once again, the window nook. So this is all storage behind here. I just decided to use a little cafe curtain, which I'm really proud of. Oh, normally this actually is in the shower, but I wanted to be neat for you guys, so I'm putting it here. Normally, we would have just used something like a cabinet here, but I wanted it to feel a little more charming, cozy, and thoughtfully crafted, as opposed to just putting a little like faux wood cabinet. I decided to buy this shelving off of Amazon and utilize a cafe curtain, which has just been so perfect and functional for us. And actually, this houses so much storage. Every single thing we need is on these little shelves. And then this is a little peel and stick stained glass that we got from Amazon, and all these decor elements are from Amazon actually. I wanted to go a little bit minimal in here. I didn't do anything on this wall just because the space is so incredibly tight. We pretty much just utilized the window nook, and it is honestly perfect for us. We've made it work. Really and truly making a home is about having pieces of furniture and items that tell a story and that inspire you and inspire others who come in. I will say this apartment has been the biggest blessing in my life. Before I did move into this apartment and find this home, I really didn't ever feel grounded. I was dancing professionally, I was on tour, I was living out of suitcases, and I was living out that dream that I went to college for. I did get to a point where I kind of hit a wall and felt a little burnt out. Once I got this place, it really did give me a sense of peace. It changed my life. It's just not only made my life special, I really feel like I've been able to give to so many other people through this tiny little jewel box of a 331 square foot New York City apartment. It's been the biggest blessing and the sweetest thing.